We'll be starting off with the talents in this guide for Beast Mastery Hunters. The talents aren't amazing, at least near the top. There's a lot of utility that we can choose here as a BM Hunter in Mr. Pandaria. So starting on line 1, I'm going to go with Post Haste. Your disengage frees you from movement impairing effects and increases your movement speed by 60% for 8 seconds. Disengage obviously leaps you out of the way, and personally I think Post Haste is really good because it's giving you a lot of movement speed, whereas the other two just aren't as good. Same on line 2, I go for Wither Sting, but it's completely up to you. A stinging shot that puts the target to sleep for 30 seconds. It can be really nice in dungeons, just putting enemies to sleep and meaning that they're out of the way and are no issue for you. Whereas Intimidation means that your pet can stun a target for 3 seconds, and Binding Shot tethers them to where the arrow is. So I do think Wither Sting is the best one there. Again on line 45, it's between Exhilaration and Aspect of the Iron Hawk. So let's talk about aspects really quickly. We have Aspect of the Hawk, or, well, in this case, the Iron Hawk. Normally, Aspect of the Hawk increases ranged attack power by 35%. But when you go for the Iron Hawk version in the talents, you also get reduced damage by 10%. So it's a constant damage reduction, whereas Exhilaration heals you for 30% and your pet for 100% total health every 2 minutes. So you can basically either choose with 10% damage reduction or 30% heal every 2 minutes here. Dire Beast is absolutely the best choice here. It's a 30-second cooldown, summons a wild, powerful beast to attack your target for 15 seconds, and each time it deals damage, you gain 5 focus, which is our resource as a hunter. Same on line 75, a Murder of Crows comes out best. Lynx Rush isn't too bad, but Murder of Crows does come out top. Summons a flock of crows to attack your target. If used on a target below 20% health, the cooldown is reduced to a minute from 2 minutes. This is just another cooldown that we can use whenever we want. And the same on line 90, which is the new level cap, of course. Glaive Toss comes out top. You hurl 2 glaives towards your target, each dealing damage to the enemy and reducing movement speed. The primary target will take 4 times as much damage from each strike, and then they will return back to you, snaring targets again as they return. So there's some movement impairment there and lots of damage. Again, it's another very short cooldown, and you're going to be using Glaive Toss basically on cooldown. With the Glyphs, we don't have anything, in my opinion, super useful. For the major Glyphs, I'm going with Animal Bond. While your pet is active, well, actually, sorry, this Glyph is really useful. The rest aren't. Glyph of Animal Bond. While your pet is active, all healing done to you and your pet is increased by 10%. So that's any healing from anywhere for you and your pet. Glyph of Deterrence increases the damage reduction granted by deterrence by 20%. So that's this cooldown over here. When activated, causes you to deflect melee ranged and spells and reduces all damage taken by now 50%. But you can't attack while it's active, and you do get 2 charges of it. And it lasts 5 seconds. So this means that it's 50% rather than 30% damage reduction, which is really nice. Then we have Glyph of Endless Wrath. While Bestial Wrath is active, which is another cooldown we'll be using, your pet cannot be killed, but can still be damaged. So it just kind of helps out there. If your pet would have been killed, it now will just not be killed. And on the minor glyphs, I'm going with Lesser Proportion, slightly reducing the size of your pet. The only benefit that I can muster up out of this one is that people in the raid, it's causing less clutter in the arena. It's very minor, and there's a bit of copium there, but it still is a benefit. Aspect of the Pack increases the range of your aspect of the pack. This is this one here. Party and raid members nearby will have their movement speed increased, but if they are hit, then they'll be dazed. This increases the range of it, helping out the raid. Glyph of Aspect of the Cheetah, you basically, this is one is just for you. Basically, you will no longer be dazed, but you will lose your aspect when hit. So it makes it easier if you're running away and you put on Aspect of the Cheetah. But usually we are going with Aspect of the Hawk or Aspect of the Iron Hawk if you have taken that talent. Now regarding pet talents, it has changed in Mr. Pandaria. What you can now see here is 3 talent trees. Any pet can have any talent tree. So it doesn't matter as much what pet you take. I would recommend you go Ferocity for your pet. You get the Rabid cooldown, increasing pet's attack speed by 70% for 20 seconds. Heart of the Phoenix, your pet will miraculously return to full health. Dash, movement speed, your pet does more damage, and they all have combat experience for the extra damage here, and spiked collar, increasing the damage done to your pet's basic attacks, etc. So ferocity is the main damage dealing spec. If you are out doing questing, etc., then tenacity, which is a tanking spec, will be a bit better. And cunning is more for like PvP and stuff, in my opinion. So do go with ferocity in a kind of PvE dungeons and raid place. I can't think of the word. Situation. But you may want to use tenacity without questing. For Mr. Pandaria Classic, I'm teaming up with Zygor to give you 20% off with code Javier. Zygor gives you the fastest and most efficient leveling experience. As you can see here, looking at killing snow leopards, I can even click all the different waypoint coordinates to see the fastest way to get to the different areas they may be in. It can also look at flight paths and show me which ways to go, including all of the different travel options. And when choosing quest rewards, it can even tell me which is the best upgrade for me. And this will be even spec dependent. I can click on the gloves, complete the quest, and then it will even tell me to equip them and shows me how much attributes and stats I will gain by equipping these items. Maybe even talents. I can use the talent advisor with Zygor, simply clicking that I want to be an affliction warlock, and it's going to configure it automatically to show me the best leveling build for affliction for me. The fun doesn't stop there, though, because it's available for SOD, Classic, Retail, Leveling. I can choose zones I want to go into, and it'll tell me how to get there and do all of the leveling in that zone, even if you're going back to old zones that you've leveled out of. Dungeons, dailies, events, reputation, gold making, professions, pets and mounts, and achievements. You can use as little or as much as you like. And don't forget, you can get 20% off with code Javier and battle past everyone at lightning speed in Mr. Pandaria Classic. Moving on to the rotation, we're starting off with the single target rotation. First things first, before you go into combat, put on your Hunter's Mark to the target. This is going to increase all range damage, not just by you, but all attackers against that target by 5%. Arcane Shot, Chimera, Kill Command, and Explosive Shot will also automatically apply your Hunter's Mark for you when using those things. So if I moved over to this target and used Kill Command, it's then going to move my Hunter's Mark over to that target for me, meaning we don't have to worry about it as much, but you can put it on before you go into combat. The second thing we're going to do is then apply our Serpent Sting. This is going to cause nature damage over 15 seconds. You want to keep Serpent Sting up at all times, but one thing you will notice is that your Cobra Shot over here will refresh your Serpent Sting on the target. So you should really only need to actually put your Serpent Sting up once onto the target, unless you let it drop off and haven't used your Cobra Shot by accident. So the second priority, or the third priority technically, would be using Kill Command. You give your command to kill to your pet, instantly inflicting damage, and remember, this will refresh the Hunter's Mark. This one you are going to use on cooldown. Same with your Kill Shot. This is going to do basically a ton of damage, but will only be able to be used on targets with 20% health or less. If it doesn't kill the target, then the cooldown will be reduced from 10 seconds to 6 seconds. Then we have Focus Fire. It consumes our pet's frenzy stacks. Oh, perfect timing. Restoring 6 focus to us and our pet and increasing our ranged haste by 6% for every frenzy stack consumed. How many stacks do we want then? 5. TLDR, only use Focus Fire at this priority. So these are the top priorities, and then you'd use Focus Fire. And you only use it when it glows. When will it glow? It'll glow when your pet has 5 stacks of Frenzy. What is Frenzy? It's a passive in here somewhere. They've separated it into Beast Mastery and Hunter now. Your pet has a 40% chance to gain 4% increased attack speed after attacking with a basic attack. And basically, that will stack up to 5 times. When it does, your Focus Fire will glow, and that is when you then use your Focus Fire. But of course, keeping up your Serpent Sting, using Kill Command, and using Kill Shot are higher priorities. Then we have Arcane Shot. You're going to use this to dump excess focus. As you can see, it costs 30 focus. We have 120 focus, and it regenerates quite fast. So you're just using this to dump any excess that you don't need. Do remember, though, that for Kill Command uses 40 focus, so you always want to make sure you have 40 focus when Kill Command comes off cooldown, so you can use it immediately. But any excess can be used on Arcane Shot. Then anything else, we're going to be using Cobra Shot as our filler, basically. Deals some nature damage, increases the duration of Serpent Sting by 6 seconds, and generates 14 focus. One cool thing about Cobra Shot is you can use it while moving as well. If we then move on to the AoE rotation, it's very simple. Use multi-shot as much as you can. This is going to attack multiple targets, but costs 40 focus. Use kill shot whenever you can, obviously on one target. And again, using Cobra Shot to regenerate focus so that we can use more multi-shots. And that's the multi-target rotation. One thing to note is that as Beast Mastery, you can tame exotic pets. Chimeras will have Frost Storm Breath, which is a conal frontal breath attack, and Worms have a Burrow attack, which is a ground-based AoE attack. So if you are doing dungeons or raids of lots of AoE, you may want to use one of those two pets as a Beast Mastery Hunter. Now, speaking of pets, they do have some abilities down here. If you have it toggled like I do here, you can right-click to toggle it to be automatically used, which is when you see the little glowing bits going around it. Rabid increases your pet's attack speed by 70% for 20 seconds on a 1.5 minute cooldown. Heart of the Phoenix, when used, your pet will miraculously return to life. And then we have Dash, which increases your pet's movement speed. So if you have it Rabid right-clicked on, it will automatically use Rabid on cooldown. Speaking of our other cooldowns then, we have Bestial Wrath, which you want to use whenever possible, sending your pet into a rage, causing additional damage, and breaking effects that cause loss of control of your pet. You should also use Murder of Crows on cooldown, use your Glaive Toss on cooldown, Dire Beast on cooldown. But one thing to note here is that Dire Beast, Bestial Wrath, and Stampede should not be used at the same time. So I would use Bestial Wrath. You can use Glaive Toss and other things at the same time, but Dire Beast, Bestial Wrath, and Stampede, you want to use separately, and that's going to help you maximize the effects of these. We also have Rapid Fire, increasing haste by 40% for 15 seconds, and Stampede will summon all of your pets to fight your current target. Your pets deal 25% of normal damage while in arenas and battlegrounds when summoned this way. So basically just use your cooldowns on cooldown. You're always going to be an aspect of the Hawk or Iron Hawk unless you need the movement speed from Cheetah. And then regarding defensives, we have Camouflage, causing you and your pet to be untargetable by ranged attacks, and removing or reducing the range at which enemies can detect you. It will also provide you with stealth when stationary. And then we have Deterrence, which I spoke about earlier. We do have some amazing utilities as a hunter. I'm going to go through some of those now. We've got Wyvern Sting, which I spoke about earlier. We have some cool passives. You've got a 15% chance when you hit with Arcane Shot to cause your pet's attacks to critically strike. Exotic Beasts. As a Beastmaster in MoP, like I mentioned before, you can tame exotic beasts. And just to recap, the two that I would recommend for AoE would be Chimeras and Worms. Frenzy we've spoken about. Go for the throat. Your auto-shot critical strikes generate focus. When your pet deals damage with basic attack, you have a chance to get focus back. These are all just passives that are going to be happening. You don't need to worry about too much. Your Mastery, which is your stat, of course, increases the damage done by your pets. Post-haste, your Disengage, that's your talent. And the Beast of In, while your pet is under the effects of Bestial Wrath, you will also go into a rage, causing additional damage and reducing focus cost of all shots and abilities. We have Concussive Shot, dazing and slowing our target. Counter Shot, which you can use on 24-second cooldown. This is your interrupt, enabled to interrupt your enemy spellcasting and should be used as much as physically possible, and this will really help out your group and raid. Disengage, where you disengage out of the way and get a movement speed if you've taken the talent that I advised you to. Distracting Shot is going to distract a target to attack you and increase your threat. You can feign death, which will literally take you out of combat in most circumstances, which is super useful. A Flare will reveal hidden enemies, so if their enemies are stealthed, you can fire a flare and show those hidden enemies. Master's Call, remove all rooting and impairment effects from you and your pet. Misdirect will actually move a threat to another target, like the tank, for example. You can help them there. We have Scare Beast, which is like a fear. Scatter Shot, which is going to disorient your enemies. Tranquilizing Shot, removing enrage and magic effects. Trap Launcher. Your traps, while active, will be launched to a target location. And then you've got all your different traps here. Explosive Trap, Freezing Trap, Ice Trap, and Snake Trap. I'm not going to go through all of them, but if you want to use them, do look through here. Widow Venom, we've already spoken about. There's so many we get as a hunter. It's why I love hunters. You don't have to use all of these, of course. These are in specific scenarios that you'll be using these utilities. And then we have True Shot Aura, which we'll see up here. Melee and range attack power is increased by 10%, and that is for you and the entire raid. And that covers off the main rotation, the AoE, and the cooldowns, and when you'll be using them as a Beast Mastery Hunter. Now let's talk about the stats and what you need and in what order. So our primary stat is going to be Agility as a Hunter, increasing the magnitude of our attacks and abilities and increasing critical strike chance. So higher eye level equals more agility, which equals more attack power, which increases how much damage we do, of course. The next one would be hit rating, making sure, of course, that we can actually hit our targets. Now, this is your top priority, and your main goal is to hit 7.5% hit rating, which means that you won't miss attacks on raid bosses. You can also actually get expertise, which, annoyingly, is the chance that bosses can dodge or parry your attacks. Apart from this, what we're going to be trying to do is get crit, haste, and martyry. So crit would be the top one for you as a Beast Mastery Hunter. Oh god, I can't see it. Here we go. Which obviously has a higher chance to do more damage with abilities, etc. And then after crit, you want to try and go for haste, increasing your attack speed and how quickly your focus will regenerate. At level 90 in Mr. Pandaria, if you're wondering how much hit you are going to need, by the way, it's 2,550. But if you are a Draenei, because you have the heroic presence racial, you only need 2,210 hit rating. For expertise, it's the same number, 2,550. Dwarves, trolls have Crackshot and Deadeye, respectively. They only require 2,210 as well. So 2,210 if you're a dwarf, or troll on expertise, and 2,210 if you're a Draenei on hit cap. Oh gosh, so confusing. But just to recap, agility is your number one priority. The second would be hit and expertise rating to 7.5, and then it's going to be crit chance, and then it's going to be haste, and then it's going to be mastery. Remember, your mastery increases damage done by your pets. And finally, moving on to your gems and consumables and enchants, agile primal diamonds are what you're going to be putting into your meta slot. Moving on to the red gems, however, we've got some really interesting choices. If you are having issues reaching the expertise cap, then there are gems to help with that. Otherwise, if you're not, you're going to be using delicate primordial rubies, etc. for agility. On yellow, it's going to be really interesting. If the socket bonus is not at least 60 agility, for example, on this leg piece here, it's a blue socket, but the socket bonus is 60 mastery. What I'm basically saying is that putting a blue gem in here, it's not worth it. The socket bonus of 60 mastery is just not worth it. What I'd rather you do is put a delicate primordial ruby in there for agility instead, because getting agility is just going to be more worthwhile than hitting that socket bonus. If, however, the socket bonus is 60 agility or more, then using something like a Deadly Vermilion Onyx will be fine, because that is red and yellow, because it's orange. Again, on blue, if you're having issues reaching the hit cap, then we have gems for that here. If you aren't, then use the Glinting Imperial Amethysts, etc. For the enchants, you can get Inscription Shoulders, unless you are Inscription, and then you can use the Secret Tiger Claw Inscription. On the back, you can use Accuracy if you need it, Crit or Embroidery if you're a tailor, Glorious Stats on your chest, Agility on your wrists, and there's a fur lining for it if you are a leather worker. Plus, if you're a blacksmith, you can add a socket to your bracer. Gloves, there's a few options depending on if you need the expertise or not. And then there's another socket you can put on if you are a blacksmith, and synapse springs if you're an engineer. Everyone can add the living steel belt buckle, although it's often expensive. Shadow leather leg armor, or again, if you're a leather worker, you have primal leg reinforcements, blurred speed on the feet, and if you can't afford them, there's greater haste. Rings you can enchant with agility, but again, only if you are an enchanter. And Lord Blastington's Scope of Doom on your weapon you can add as well on your ranged weapon, or the mirror scope if you can't afford that one. Regarding the professions, and I've touched on it a little bit, but what does each one actually give? Well, a lot of them are going to give you 320 agility, blacksmithing through the sockets, meaning you can have more gems, jewel crafting, because you can get better gems, alchemy, enchanting, engineering, inscription, all give you an extra 320 agility. Leatherworking actually gives you 330 agility, and tailoring can provide about 1,000 attack power in average. So this is tailoring's pretty good. Apart from that, honestly, just go with whatever you like for a hunter. It's not too complex. And there we go, guys. That is everything you need to know about playing a Beast Mastery Hunter in Mists of Pandaria Classic. Hopefully this was helpful for you. If you want to support the channel, you can do so in the link below via Patreon. And if you want to get Zygor, don't forget you can get 20% off and supercharge your leveling and adventuring experience literally in every aspect of the game. 20% off with code Javier, and there is a link below for you. Do check out the playlist on screen as well, as I've done a ton of Mists of Pandaria guides, and don't forget to subscribe.